Thank you, Chris. So as Chris mentioned earlier, we're going to show 3 different scenarios. One, creating a life story. The second one, in using a life story book to engage and communicate. And the third one, creating a book that you can work on as a shared activity. So as Polly and Tash mentioned, life review work and life story work has numerous benefits for the individual at various stages across a person's lifespan. And while the life stories application can be used in a number of different settings, today I'm concentrating on life stories for people living with memory loss. So the activity of creating a life story can help with anxiety and help the person put their life in context, giving a sense of identity, achievement, leading to an increase in well-being, a feeling of empowerment, and we hope fun. So I'm going to show you, if my mouse clicks. Right, first of all, I'm going to show you how to securely register for the platform, how to create a book, how to upload different types of media, to have a look at the My Profile page, and then to have an overview of the book in general. So hopefully you can now see this page and I'm sharing the right thing. So when you land on the landing page, you've got access here to create a life story. You've also got some more information about life stories in general, a little bit about the project as an overview, and links here to Know Your Place, which you were shown earlier, and life packs, which we've talked about briefly to date, but one of the examples that I will go on and show you uses one of those life packs. So let's go ahead and start creating our life story. So when you first reach this, if you already have registered, then you'll jump to your login page. But in this example, we haven't yet registered. So all we need to do is to tap here to register and pop in the email address that you want to register with. I'm going to type slowly because yesterday I made loads of typing mistakes. Okay, what happens next is that goes away and sends an email, and then you get an email in your inbox and you can click on that link. There we go. Move this up so you can see it. You click on that link and then you can continue to register. So it's asking me for my details. Now asks you to create a password. Now, for authentication, we needed to put in a way of creating a password that was safe and secure. So it has got a combination of letters and characters and numbers to remember. But what we put down here is a little hint. So if you can think of a phrase that you can remember easily, like Mary had a little lamb, and maybe the year that you were born, then that's something that will help you remember your password when you first set it up. Pop it in twice. The last thing you need to do to register is to put in the GP surgery where you are registered, and everything from Herefordshire and Worcestershire has been added in here. So as you start typing, the practices will come up. You just need to click on which one is yours. You can scroll down the list, or as you can see, you can start typing and it will find the relevant practice and click on register. Okay, save my password. You're then presented on the first time, and you can see you get an email up here. The first time you are presented with some more information about the Life Stories book. But what we're going to do is skip through that, and what we want to do is to start working on our book. So the first thing you see is a dashboard, and we'll come back to the dashboard in a few moments. But what I want to do is to start jumping in and start creating our book. So if you click on here, view and edit, here's your book. So as Chris mentioned, what we've done is we've put in some chapters, which are just sample chapters, so you don't start with an empty book. But the first thing we want to do is to give our book a name and to start adding some images. So you click on edit. I'm going to put my book here. Wherever you see this little green cross, it means that you can add an image or paste from the internet, or when you have a library of images that you've used throughout your book, you can select from that too. As soon as you click on here, you'll see here's where you would paste your web address from the internet. Here's where you would choose to upload a picture from the device you're using. And here's where you can pick from your library once you've added a few images. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a picture. And there should be here a little picture of me pre-lockdown when I could get a haircut. Pop that in. Once you've found your picture, you get a little preview here to check that you've picked the right one. And you just click to add that to your page. Hopefully my internet will stay up. There we go. Right, so there are a couple of options from here. We can save and continue if we want to carry on working on the book, or we can just save this page and then log out and come back to the book later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this page. Okay, over here we have the chapters that we talked about before. These are just sample chapters so that you don't have an empty book, but we know that not everybody will want these chapters. So you have the ability to delete chapters and pages, to add your own chapters and pages, or you can just rename the ones that are in there, whatever works for you as you build up your book. You can also navigate here on the next bar using the next button. So I'm going to do that first. And the first page that you're presented with by default is a page which is this is me, and it's about you. These questions have been developed based on the This Is Me profile from the Alzheimer's Society. What I'm going to do here is just start to populate that. So whilst my full name is Susan, I don't like to be called Susan. I like to be called Sue. And usually get called Susan if I'm in trouble with my mom. So I'm just going to say, when you talk to me, please call me Sue. I'm going to save and continue. And again, this page can build up over time. So clicking through, the first thing that I may want to do is to talk about growing up. So perhaps I grew up in Worcester. And again, I'm going to pop in here, say, growing up in Worcester. And I remember growing up in Carden Street, and there's some lovely images of Carden Street in the Know Your Place files. So again, all I would need to do is click here, find my picture of Carden Street, which is here. That's the right one. Click on that, and again, add it to the page. So as well as adding the picture, in this particular instance, I'm going to also add some text. So I'm going to write in here, I remember walking down Arden Street on the way to school, stopping to buy sweets with my pocket money. And we can save that. So one of the nice things is not only being able to add images and add in text, but you can also add and record your own voice or somebody else's voice if they're working on the book with you. And we know that having the sound of your own voice or a family member's voice can help be with that familiarity and can have a calming effect as well. So if you want to add a voice recording to your page, you click on the options button. You'll notice there's a little record button here. Click on record. I remember walking down Carden Street on the way to school and stopping to buy sweets with my pocket money. I always used to pick chocolate if I could, as that was and always is my favourite. Go and stop there and save the page. Now what you'll notice here that I've also got a small little record button, and if I click on that, you will be able to hear the voice read back to you. I remember walking down Carden Street on the way to school and stopping to buy sweets with my pocket money. Oh, I'm going to stop that because your voice never sounds the same out loud as it does in your head. So I'm only going to do a quick recording of that. Okay. So again, moving through my book, what I want to do now is I want to add some music. So don't judge me for my taste in music. So I'm going to put in here that Music from the, oh, can't spell, apologies. Music from the 80s. Reminds me of a school disco. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to search on YouTube for some hits of the 80s. So I click on here. In true Blue Peter fashion, I've got one I prepared earlier. So once you've found the link for the music or the video that you want, you can highlight, copy, jump back to your story, click on the green button again, and paste that in here. Again, you get the preview, so you know you've copied the right link, and you can add that to your page and save. And again, now if I click on this, it'll start playing the music out loud. So I'm going to stop that. Okay. Yes, I know, Chris, thank you. Okay, so hopefully what you've seen now is you've seen that you can register, you can create a book, you can upload different types of media, you can start populating the About Me section. If you want to log out, because we know that you're going to want to build your book over time, if you click on the account button here, you can just log out. And you'll notice here that now I've started to add some pictures. You can see that they've got my little picture of my book there. Log out. So in the first demo, I showed you how to create and upload rich media and look at using Life Stories book, creating a Life Stories book. What I want to do in this example is to show you how a Life Stories book that has been more greatly populated, so it's got more images and more pages populated, can be used as a way of engaging and communicating. Whether you are communicating with families, carers, clinicians, volunteers, we know that communication is key. We also know that the inability to effectively communicate can lead to distressed behaviour. So having an easily accessible book will help prompt conversation, including family intergenerational engagement. So let me zoom back over. And this time I'm going to log in with a different account. And here's the book, the second book that I want to share with you. So this book here, again, it's me, but with some different images in, and has got some more pages on. So let's say we were, I was working or looking through this book with a family member. We can flick through. We'll notice here that I've started to put some additional information in about me. And down here, I've got down here that crafts are one of my favourite hobbies. I know I used to cook, I don't do so much now, but I'm still really interested in crafting. So as we flick through, we can see some pictures, some more music, some of the achievements, some much younger photos, and pictures of my family. Okay, so here's the hobbies page. So again, I would, I can use this as a way of talking about things that I've done in the past, some of the things that give me a lot of pleasure to do. And maybe this would prompt a conversation about, right, there are things that we have done. Why don't we look at maybe starting to work on a new project together? So less about the past and more about things that we're going to do together. So I'm going to create a new page. So I just click here, add page. And this page is going to be about our next project. So our next project could be about maybe creating a blanket for the winter, because I don't crochet very fast, so I need to start now. Maybe here what we want to do also is maybe add a pattern or maybe a demonstration video of some to give us some ideas and some inspiration about what that blanket may look like. So again, much like we did before, I can click here, I can find a clip or a video and a pattern, and I can copy that and I can paste that in. And here we go. I've got some instructional videos on how to create a granny square, which is what my blanket's going to be made up for. And then we can save this. And then maybe when we finish making the blanket, we can upload some additional images of what the finished result looked like. One of the other things that I wanted to do in here is once you've got more of a complete book, you can also export the book. So on the little share button here, when you move down, you'll see it says exporting your book. You can export your book as a PDF, which means that you can then download it, or you can print it, or you can export it to a video so that it becomes a slideshow and then you can play that. You get the option to choose what you want to export. So for now, I'm just going to export the This Is Me page. I could do the others, but it can be, the more pages you've got in your book, the slower that can take. So I'm just going to do one chapter and click on Export to PDF. And here we go. So it's me because it's got my picture in there. And then as I scroll down, you start to see the populated This Is Me information, which, as I said before, you can click here to download or you can print. And I'm just going to log it. Okay, so hopefully that example has shown you how you can use an existing book as not only a tool to look and engage and stimulate conversation, but maybe about planning additional projects that you want to do moving forward. So the final demo. So up to date, we've shown the power of the application in a kind of one-to-one setting, but I wanted to finish by showing the application in a group setting. So creating a book around a shared interest, or family members all getting together and creating a book collaboratively. So for this example, you need to imagine that I've got an interest in football, and you need to imagine that I've got an interest in football around Worcester. So I'm working with a group of friends, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you how to create a book, start working on the book, invite other friends and relatives to help me on the book, and show how we can all work on that together. Okay. So I'm already still logged in from before, and you'll notice on my dashboard page that here I've got the option to start a new book. So that's what I'm going to do. So I click on Start a Book. Okay, I'll log in, that might be easier. Okay, the first thing I want to do is to edit this book. And this book, as we said before, is going to be about our football memories. Save and continue. Okay. Now, we mentioned before that we've got these pre-populated chapters, but we know that for this book, these chapters are not really what we want. So we click on them. Save it first, apologies. Save it. Click on these. Okay. So it's not going to be about my childhood. What we want to do here is I'm going to talk about the glory years of 1965 to 1966. And there's something that as a group, when we were talking about football, we remember. So 64 to 65. And save that. When we were talking earlier, remember we talked about life packs. So here are the life packs. There are 2 life packs in here at the moment, but the team at Herefordshire and Worcester are adding loads of additional life packs. So the life pack that I'm going to look at today is the Worcester City football one. So if I click on that link, you'll see here that I can look through the history of the football club. And there's a really lovely PDF in here. I can look in and I can read and I can review the photos and the words. And I can also download this and print. What's great about the life packs is you don't need to be signed in or registered within the application to use the life packs. The life packs can be used outside of the application. Okay, so when I'm reading all this information, I've remembered that there's a player that was really awesome, and his name was Norman Dealey. So what I'm going to do now is to see in here if I can find a picture of him. I'm going to scroll down. I see some lovely pictures that have been added to this life pack, copies of old programmes. And indeed, here you go, 1964 to 65. And here's Norman Dealey. So if I wanted to use this image in my life pack, if I right click and copy the image address, go back to my life story, edit it, click on here, I can now paste that. And there's my image, and I can add that to the page. So as you can see, I'm now starting to build out some of the things that maybe I remember about football. But what I want to do on this particular book is to collaborate with some other people. So if I click on the share button, you'll see here that I have the ability to share with somebody else. I can share to somebody else with different types of permissions. You can share to somebody who's just a reader, and as the name suggests, they can just read the book, or an editor, and they can add to the book, so they can create pages and they can add media too, or a manager. The manager can do exactly the same as the editor, but they have the additional privileges of being able to share with somebody else, or in fact delete the book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with another account, the one we created in the first example. And I'm going to share as an editor. Okay. And now I'm going to log out of this account. If I log in as that other person, who will also receive an email to say, hey, you've been invited to join a book. So here's the book that we created in the first example. And down here where it says books shared with me, here's the book that we've just shared. And if I click on this, here's the football memories. Here's the picture we uploaded, and I can now add a page as well. So I may also want to say, hey, 1964 to 65 was great. Well, what about 1966 when we won the World Cup? Maybe we start talking about 1966 and the World Cup. Oh, apologies for my spelling. World Cup. Click on here. And here, again, I found a nice little clip of the World Cup. And I can copy this clip, pop it in my book, and add that to my page and save this. Now, when I log out of this, if I logged in again, which I won't, but when I log in again with the other ID, this picture will now be in here. So now, again, not only are we using collaborating and doing our own memories, but maybe we can use this for saying, hey, you know, let's try and book when we can now go and visit Worcester for real, when we can start playing football, when COVID restrictions are lessened, and we can make plans to go and see as a group